Are we machines or something beyond machines? Because scientific, academic understanding past 19th, 20th century is to convince us that we are machines. And we have brain. Brain is a computer. There is no consciousness. Separate from brain. We are machines who do not act but react. Everything goes by reflex. Brain controls us and we move. Brain says something, sends signals, we behave. That's what science is teaching us. So, is this correct or not? Because if we don't have a consciousness, if a consciousness is a product of brain, thank you. If a consciousness is a product of brain, and if we are simply machines, then the problem is our life becomes meaningless. We are machines. We are surrounded by machines. We should act like machines. We should behave like machines. And there's a problem in that. So, is there any scientific evidence to show that we are beyond, there's something existing beyond this body? You can call it soul, you can call it consciousness or something, blah, 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 whatever name you want to give. Something is there beyond this body, beyond brain, which cannot be explained by physicalistic, mechanistic laws, whatever we know, and which we have to accept that it is beyond the realm of science. So are there any evidences for that? Now, before giving you some evidences, let me just tell you what's happening.
It's too much.
Okay, just leave it. It's better I put in hand. I'm comfortable with that. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, before giving you evidences, one thing we have to keep in mind, that science has to be open-minded. First of all, because you can observe a phenomena, but you can give many theories to explain that phenomena. So, for example, Feynman. Have you heard about Feynman? He's a physicist.
Oh, Feynman?
Yeah, Feynman. Oh, Feynman. You pronounce as Feynman. Richard Feynman. Yeah, you might have heard in computer. So he's a famous physicist, and he says in his he often said that you can have some explanations for some observations, but there can be many theories to explain those phenomena. For example, I'll give you 3 examples for that. Evidences can be interpreted in many ways. Same evidences, but interpretations can be many. For example, if you come to biology, there was one person, Louis Pasteur. Have you heard about pasteurization? You get milk in your pack. Here you get milk in packets. Yeah. So you have to pasteurize that milk so that we don't have any bacterial growth and we don't get sick. Now the point is, Louis Pasteur was doing an experiment on pasteurization. Pasteurization simply means you boil something to a very high degree of temperatures so that all bacteria and all life forms die. And then you pack it, and then because there's no life form, there's no growth. You can just pack it, transport it, it's safe. Now, at the time of Louis Pasteur, there was a debate whether life originates from matter or life comes from life. There was a big debate. There was something called as spontaneous generation of life. Some people believed that if you leave matter aside, life will spontaneously generate. For example, if you keep, I don't know in America, but if you keep food in your store, then after some time you can find some insects. If you don't use it, some insects will find in that. So people thought, my God, so life is coming from matter. People thought that's theory of spontaneous origin. But some people thought, no, it's not possible. Life comes from life. So Louis Pasteur decided to end this debate. He did an experiment. He took case control. He took some meat. 2 dishes of meat here, 2 dishes of meat. 2 dishes of meat, he boiled them above heating point, covered them. 2 dishes he didn't do. The dishes he didn't boil, he didn't pasteurize. They developed maggots, flies, but which he did pasteurize, there was no life forms. So he concluded that life doesn't come from life. Life comes from life, it doesn't come from matter. There, in those dishes, there already has to be some kind of eggs, invisible eggs of maggots, of flies, and later, by temperature and everything, they develop into flies. So the debate ended. Life doesn't come from matter. But ironically, scientific community is not like that. You know what science, no, this is the evidence. Everybody accepted, okay, life doesn't come from matter, life comes from life. But science wanted to interpret that evidence in some other way. And you know, all the scientists, what they interpreted this evidence as, okay, fine, we accept life doesn't come from matter. There's some, life is beyond matter. Something is beyond machine's body. But, they said, but at the beginning of creation, life must come from matter. We don't see life coming from matter anywhere. Do you see? Do you see anywhere? Is there an experience? Suddenly you go to store, your super malls, and you open the packet and something. There's no evidence for that. No observation that life comes from matter. And this is the evidence, he proved. But scientists thought, no, okay, fine. Never life comes from matter, but at least once it should come. And that is at the beginning of creation. So that is a bias. That's a clear bias. That's a clear scientific bias. They are not open-minded. Evidence is there, but they're interpreting some other way. That's what I was explaining. So you can have a list of evidences, but if you don't want to believe, if you don't want to interpret that evidence in a proper way, you can interpret it in so many other ways you want. So this is one example. Another example is Big Bang. Everybody knows Big Bang? Origin of universe. All the evidences. Okay, fine. Have you ever thought how the scientist can know what happened 13.5 billion years ago? Has anybody seen that? Were we there at that time? Of course we can't be there because it was a big explosion. So we can't be there, first of all. So how do these scientists figure out what happened 13.5 billion years ago? Now what they do is they observe this universe, they observe galaxies, and what Hubble found, that these galaxies are going away from us. Everybody knows this? Yeah, the universe is expanding. Before Hubble, nobody knew whether the universe is expanding, because if you see sky, stars look pretty stationary. You don't find stars moving here and there. They are point, because they are traveling like this in the vertical axis, not in horizontal axis. So we don't see the movement. Understand? So Hubble found galaxies are going away from us, and at a particular speed. Now, if you know the speed, how much speed a particular object is going, you can calculate the initial force. Newton's law? Simple. You throw a ball, the amount of speed, and then you can calculate what's the force. F is equal to ma. It's simple calculation. So by reverse calculations, they could understand what was the force at the time of beginning of creation. If it was expanding at some point of time, it was 1. So at that time, what's the force? If you calculate the force, it's easy to calculate temperatures. And then few other evidences, cosmological, microwave background, all those things, they can calculate what happened 13.5 billion years ago. But the point is, all these evidences can be interpreted in a way to prove Big Bang theory. Big Bang theory is the most accepted theory, but there are many other theories which can explain the same evidences. By same evidences, you can come to different conclusions of the origin of universe. For example, there's another theory, inflation theory. Have you heard the inflation theory? So the point is, same evidences, different interpretation. Now, third evidence is evolution. America evolution is very, people believe in evolution. Now, you have heard about intelligent design, this debate? You know about that? So, evolution means we evolved from our great ancestors were who?
Monkeys.
Was monkeys, huh? Yeah. So scientists say like that. And then monkeys came from maybe amphibians and then birds and dinosaurs. So this evolution takes place. Now the point is, the evidence for evolution is, there are two evidences for evolution. You can read books after books after books, but everything boils down to two evidences. First evidence is fossils. Everybody is aware of fossils? But I'm asking you because in India people are not aware because so fossils. Now the point is they can find fossils. That's the evidence. You can interpret fossils in two ways. Either you can say fossils is a link between two species evolved. For example, bird and dinosaur. So the story goes like this: the dinosaur, he was just walking around here and there, and suddenly they started running. And they started running at such a high speed that they took off. That's the story of evolution. And they became birds. Seriously, that's the story of evolution. And then there's a link between bird and dinosaur. Archaeopteryx and all those. So there's a link, which is half dinosaur and half bird. They found a creature, half dinosaur, half bird. So they thought, okay, our evolution theory is proved that dinosaurs became birds because we found a creature which is half bird and half dinosaur. But this evidence doesn't prove anything. You know why? Because to prove evolution, you have to show. What is science? You have to see. You have to show how that dinosaur is changing into bird. But you can't show an evolution because evolution takes millions and millions of years from one species to evolve into another species. So the theory is built in such a way that you can't prove it scientifically. It's impossible to prove because we don't live millions and millions of years. We have to accept scientific community that after millions of years, dinosaurs will change into birds. Monkeys will change into humans. Now there's another point. Intelligent design theory, it says, you know what? This species they got, half bird and half dinosaur. They think that's a link. But that's a speculation because maybe that creature coexisted with dinosaurs and birds. That can happen, no? You're getting my point? That can happen. It's not necessary that one evolved from another. For example, if you meet two persons on the road and you meet them and you say, my God, you're two are friends? Yeah, we are friends. So you are very similar to each other. Sometimes you feel two people's face very similar. So if they are very similar, do you conclude that this friend evolved from that friend? No. Similarity is not evolution. That's what the evidence is which scientists are finding. This is similar to bird and this is similar to dinosaur. So this is a link between dinosaur and bird. No chance. That's similarity. That could have been created as such. So necessarily it's an evolutionary link. You got my point? So there are evidences, but it depends how you interpret it. One person can say it was designed as such, if you find these things, half bird, half dinosaur. Another person can say, okay, there's a link. So different interpretations for same evidences. Now if you have understood this, let me give you some evidences for existence of something, let me call it something. You can call it consciousness, soul or whatever, beyond this body. So the first evidence is dreams and sleep. Is there any department of sleep in the entire world? Is there any department? No department. Michigan, you have department of sleep? No. There are researchers. There is no department. Sleep is the biggest mystery. We sleep for 8 hours. But nobody understands what sleep. That's the biggest thing, no? So sleep is a mystery. But the point is not that we are sleeping. That's natural, that's okay. It's a mystery, that's also no problem. Because everything is a mystery, no? But the conclusion is that sleep is against evolutionary theory. You know what evolution says? Survival of the fittest. The characteristics which should evolve, a species evolve those characteristics which are fit for survival. The characteristics which are not fit for survival, those are deleted. That's evolution. Suppose your tail, you know that? Like as monkeys we had tail, I meant to say. we were not monkeys, according to me, we were not monkeys, but scientists say we had tail, and slowly the monkeys were like using tail to swing on the trees. But when they came down on the ground, they had no use of tail, so tail vanished. Are you aware of that? This is what evolutionary theory says. Because it was not useful for a survival, so it vanished. So now we have a tailbone. That's all, small tailbone. That's all. So that's the theory of evolution. Whatever is favorable for survival, that exists. Whatever is not favorable, that vanishes. Now you tell me, what is sleep? Is sleep favorable for survival or not?
Yeah.
How? Yeah, okay, how?
Well, we need it for energy.
Okay, fine. Scientists say we need to get recharged.
Yes.
That's the point. But on the other hand, sleep is extremely unfavorable for survival. You're sleeping. You forget yourself. Anybody can kill you. It's absolutely unfavorable for survival. You're so prone to be killed in this animal world. We are animals, rational animals, according to evolution. And evolution should have by now delayed sleep. It should have gone. Because there are many animals below humans who do not sleep. They are animals. There are evidences in scientific community which do not sleep. For example, sponges? They don't sleep. Jellyfish? They don't sleep. So scientists give an explanation. Okay, fine. They do not sleep because they are very lower forms, very simple forms. So they don't need sleep. We are complex, so we need sleep to get recharged. Well, it's some argument. But then if you go to dolphins, anybody has seen dolphins? In America they have a lot of... Yeah, they have shows, not dolphin shows, so many.
I don't see it.
Yeah, see. In internet you might have seen movies, no? They jump like that.
Yeah,
Shows. So dolphins, you know how they sleep? They sleep by one eye closed. Like 3 hours they sleep with one eye open, and then 3 hours with another eye. Because if they close both eyes, some other fish can eat it. So half brain is active. 3 hours half brain is active, another 3 hours another brain is active. And that's a very good characteristic for survival. So if dolphins are not as evolved as humans, and we're supposed to come from fish and all those things, it's a mammal. So according to evolutionary theory, we should have developed that kind of mechanism. That's more favorable to survival. We get recharged. At the same time, we are aware what's going on. Nobody can kill us. Nobody can do anything for us. So evolution would have made it like this. We are sleeping, one eye open and one eye you can see, and another eye. Then after 3 hours, another eye is open. And it could have happened like that.
What about sleeping half and working? Half brain can work and then you can get money.
Yeah. That's also good. No, yeah, that's also and yeah. I mean, it's logical. Evolution should have got that feature of dolphin. That should have survived, but it didn't happen like that. Human is the most evolved species, and we have sleep with us, which is absolutely unfavorable to survival. There's some benefits, but there are many. It's not favorable for survival. So what's it doing? That is why scientists are confused. Evolutionary scientists can't explain sleep. It's impossible to explain. So now the point is, another point. When you sleep, we have dreams. We have dreams. Now, and you have deep sleep. There's a difference between dreams and deep sleep. So deep sleep, you don't get dreams. Now, Upanishads, they give us a reason, an explanation for sleep. They say, okay, fine. When you're deep sleep, and then you get up in the morning, and you feel very fresh, isn't it? And sometimes you say, I didn't experience any dreams. Is it? Sometimes it happens, no? You're absolutely sure you didn't have any dreams. Now the question which Vedanta asks is, how do you know that you didn't have any dreams? You forgot yourself, no? Sleeping, you forgot yourself. Now this is another point. Evolutionists are very concerned about this fact. While sleeping, you forget yourself. Not only you sleep, but you forget. This is anti-evolutionary theory. You forget yourself. It is absolutely not favorable for survival. No species forget themselves. No, while sleep, what you forget. So, two questions while sleeping. How do you forget yourself? Forgetting ourselves is a big thing, no? You can do experiment now. You do meditation. Try to forget yourself. Can you forget yourself? You do any kind of meditation. You can feel peace. You will not be able to forget yourself. Some kind of meditation, they demand that your mind should become empty. That's the meditation. Okay, fine. But the point is, you'll not forget yourself when your mind becomes empty. You know why? Because if you forget yourself when your mind becomes empty, you will not be able to know whether your mind has become empty or not. There's a logical conundrum there. If you know that, if you are aware that your mind has become empty, that means your mind has not become empty. Because there's a thought that my mind is being, one thought exists. And if your mind has really become empty and you forget yourself, then you can never know that your mind has become empty. You understand? So it's very difficult to forget ourselves. You try, you close your eyes. You can make your mind empty, but you cannot forget yourself. But sleep is a phenomenon where you forget yourself, not 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours stat. Now, why does brain want to forget itself? If brain evolved and the most complex machine, why does it want to forget itself? That's completely anti-evolution, but it is happening. So Upanishads ask this question: why do we forget at the time of deep sleep ourselves? And the second question is, when you get up from deep sleep, how do you know that you didn't get dreams? So Vedanta, without any experiments, just by thinking and observation, thought experiment. You know this thought experiment? Einstein did thought experiment. So by this you can conclude that there is somebody watching when a brain is sleeping. There's no thoughts, but you can know that there are no dreams. There's some force beyond this machine which is shutting down the brain. And then when you get up, without your knowledge, it reactivates the brain. Is it? We don't tell ourselves, I want to get up. But we get up. So that's first evidence. If you want to look evidence from a very open-minded platform, not a closed-minded. Okay, second evidence is, this might interest you. There are some people without brain. Without brain. And that's a medical condition called as hydroencephalus. You have heard? Babies are born with big skull. Hydroencephalus. There is when you take CT scan of their brains, you will find fluid and nothing else. Oh, can you bring my small laptop from inside? I'll just show them pictures of CT scan. So you get fluid inside the brain. There's no brain. There's a small thin layer of brain. Everything is fluid. And this is from New Scientist. You know, there's a magazine, New Scientist. New Scientist, famous scientist. It is 20th July 2007. There was this case of 44-year-old man who was a student in Harvard. I think it was Harvard, somewhere in America. And they somehow he had some headache. He went to the clinic and they did CT scan. And they got CT scan doctors. Shocked, no brain. What's happening here? They were shocked. What's happening? So how do you explain these things, these kind of things? How do you explain? There's no explanation. There's one explanation. Scientists say that brain is highly plastic. Brain has capacity of plasticity. You know plasticity? That one function of brain can be taken up by another part. So if you cut your brain half, the function of this left hemisphere can be taken up by right hemisphere. So they don't understand how this happens. So they say this is a very thin layer of brain. Probably all function of brain is taken by that thin layer. But as I told you, you can interpret evidences in any way. Nobody understands why it happens. Here is a CT scan of that brain. If you can have a look, if you can see, can everybody see from back? You can see. This is everybody can see. You can see.
It's possible.
I will increase that brightness here. Brightness, probably that brightness. Yeah. This is a brightness. I got it. Oh, now you'll be able to see. You can see now?
Yeah.
You see? There's nothing there. It's black. It's all fluid. This is anterior view. This is lateral view. This fluid. This much brain. This is a section. This is the thin layer of sections. That's all. Lateral view you can know. Anterior, lateral. There's nothing. How do you explain that? Nobody knows what's happening. So to say brain is everything and brain is doing this, brain is doing that, it's not a good theory. It's not a good theory. You can interpret this evidence in some other way. You can say, yeah, we can explain and all these things, but
I have a question.
I can.
Did it explain like any maybe odd behavioral?
No, okay, fine. Yeah, you asked a good question. I'm glad you asked. Now they did IQ test on this person, and his IQ was average, not genius, but at the same time he was not retarded. He was a mental retardation. He was normal student, and still he had no brains. And this is not the first case. No brains. If you tell somebody no brain, it's funny, yeah. And then this is not the first case. Then they're finding some few regular cases. For example, there's a student, Roger Lewin, December 12, 1980. This is also published in Scientist magazine. There are people like that. So there has to be something beyond brain. Brain is not the whole story. Consciousness is not produced from brain. Now people say consciousness is produced from brain, complex interactions of brain. But for consciousness to produce from brain, there first has to be brain, How do you produce consciousness from brain? So there's a theory of consciousness which is called as epiphenomenalism. Consciousness is an epiphenomenon of brain. Just like scientists say, just like we produce urine, so brain produces consciousness. It's a funny theory, but they can't explain this. They can't fit this evidence is there. Okay, this is the second evidence. Third evidence is coma. Coma? Comatose patients. So generally people who are comatose, their brain wave, brain waves? Beta, theta, alpha and delta. So normal person have brain waves, 4 brain waves. There are persons with seizures, epilepsy. Their brain waves are like fully irregular. Or maybe their brain waves are irregular. It goes like this, then it goes like this and then like this. But comatose patients, their brain waves is flat. Flatline coma, that's called. Oh, there was a movie, Coma? It's a famous movie. You can today you can go and watch that movie. It's on net. Coma. It's a famous movie. It's a famous novel by Harold Robin. He wrote that. So they used to put artificially induced coma by drugs, and brain line becomes flat. So if brain line is flat, that means brain is dead. Brain death. And brain death, you're not supposed to experience anything. Your brain is dead. But many comatose patients, because I was a doctor, and I have personally seen many comatose patients, they can hear while being in coma. This sense is working. There are many evidences for that. And how it happens, nobody understands. Nobody understands that. So there has to be some kind of extra sensory thing beyond brain which is able to do all these kind of things. This is third evidence. Fourth is, I'll show you interesting thing. Do you know anything about psychology? You're a psychologist? Okay. Now psychology, psyche means soul. Psychology it was a study of soul when philosophers were there. But slowly they changed psyche from soul, because you can't see soul into mind. But mind also you can't see. So there were few psychologists, Skinner and Watson and all those, they came, okay, fine, you can't even see mind, so it's all behavior. Behavioral psychology. So psychology is to do with behavior. You see some person is becoming angry, this kind of behavior, okay, this is personality type A, personality type B, personality type C, all these divisions. But now psychology is changing. Now a new psychology is coming, Gestalt psychology. You have heard about this?
Gestalt?
Yeah, Gestalt psychology. Yeah, you are a person. So what's that? I'll show you a few things now. Now see, this is interesting. Okay, can you see this picture?
Yeah.
Everybody? What's this? What do you see?
I see 2 things.
What?
Well, I see 2 faces looking at each other in a vase.
Okay. Either you can see 2 faces, or you can see a drum, a clock here. You can see in between. Yeah, hourglass.
Candle holder, maybe.
Or maybe a candle, yeah, okay, fine.
A vase or something.
Either a candle or hourglass or two faces, okay? So, okay, fine. That's fine enough, no? Okay, what do you see here? In this? No, not fire. Okay, in this, first in this.
Triangle.
Okay, triangle. But triangle is not there, no? It's not there, it's an illusion, no? You see, it's not there. But you can see a triangle. And here, okay, here what do you see? In this?
Sphere.
A circle?
Yeah.
But there's no circle, it's an illusion. You don't see? You see in the boundaries, you try to see there? No, but you see on the periphery.
It's a very uneven circle.
No,
Sphere, basically.
you try to see, it's like this, behind these things.
Yeah, I see.
Okay? And what do you see here? In this? Yeah, worm? Yeah, see? Yeah, a worm, which is going beneath and like this. Okay? So this is, what do you see here?
Or a young woman.
Ugly old lady? Or a young woman? So if you take this as nose, this is mouth, this is chin, this is ugly old lady. But if you take this as necklace, this as chin and this is nose, this is a beautiful young lady. You can see this? If I hide this is a beautiful young lady, if I open this is ugly old lady. So, what's this all about? So this is called as gestalt psychology. The point is now psychologists are coming to this conclusion, there has to be something mind beyond brain. Brain is not the whole story. Consciousness is beyond brain. You know why? Because same photograph, when you're seeing this photograph, your signals are going in your eyes, then in brain, no? Same signals, but you can see two things. Know my point? You're seeing the same picture. When I ask you to see young lady, you're seeing young lady. When I ask you to see old lady, you're seeing old lady. But the signals and interpretation by brain is the same. Signals do not change. Understand? So this means something beyond brain is interpreting this whole picture into different stories. Everybody's understanding? So this shows that brain is not the whole story, because electrical light is going in our eyes, signals, optic lobe, same picture. But when I ask you to see young lady, you're seeing young lady. When I ask you to see old lady, you're seeing old lady. By your own volition, you can change the interpretation of these photographs. So that's what now they are thinking. Wow. So psychology, for last 100 years, psychology was confirmed that there is no mind. But suddenly they got a revelation. Mind came back in the picture. Suddenly, there's a mind. Because we found evidences. So this is it's a big thing going on in psychology that, now again we are back with mind. Again, mind-body dualism. And you have to explain that. Okay, fifth evidence is past life memories. Everybody knows about that? There's Ian Stevenson and Dr. Carlson. They have recorded many past life memory patients. And nobody can explain how people can remember their past lives. If you can, so one scientist, he was asked, how do you explain past life? So he said, I have a theory. You know what? That when you're living in this life, so you develop some electromagnetic radiations. And then when you die, those electromagnetic radiations are somehow transferred into this brain through quantum phenomena. And then you can... But this is no explanation. First of all, nobody understands what's quantum phenomena as far as consciousness is concerned. Second thing is electromagnetic radiations. What's the relationship between thoughts and electromagnetic radiations? Nobody understands that as yet. So this is some kind of explanation. This is called patch of work. Okay, fine. We understand, but you don't understand anything. So what is gravity? Can you explain? Gravity is attraction. Yeah, we have understood gravity. Have you understood? No. Attraction is another name for gravity, no? It's not an explanation. You got my point? Newton saw something is attracted and you name as gravity. Okay, so... And last evidence is You can go and search. You have heard about near-death experiences? Heard about that? Near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. Now, many people who undergo heart surgeries, they leave their body, and sometimes they see from above what's happening around, and they report while cardiac surgery, these things are happening, and then they come back. One patient, he sued the doctor. You know why? He thought, see, you were doing heart surgery and I was anesthetized. Anesthetized means, heart surgery means the patient is on heart-lung ventilator machine. You know, there's a machine, you have to circulate blood. You have to stop blood in the brain, otherwise how do you do surgery? So there's a machine which is circulating. Brain activity is very low. All ears and eyes are closed. You can't hear, you can't see, you can't do anything. You're anesthetized. You can't feel. But that person told, see, when you were doing operation, I went above. I was above the ceiling. I was seeing my body and all the operation. And I saw that you were flirting with the nurse. And I'm dying there. And you're doing nonsense. He sued him. This happened in America. And it often happens. I mean, I was a doctor and I was a surgeon. There I used to do. And of course, doctors talk nonsense. But for them it's casual. But for this patient, you know, I'm dying. Alarming. What are you doing? You're not serious about me. So there are many cases. There are many cases like that. Now the argument, the most common argument by scientists is about these cases is that these experiences, nobody knows whether these experiences happened while they were anesthetized, maybe just before anesthesia or just after anesthesia, or they're not probably fully anesthetized. You know, somehow they can hear through brain because they want to believe everything is brain. So they can't see an obvious evidence. So there was one case, a Pam Reynolds case. Now this has changed scientific community, and it proves that there's something beyond brain. There's a consciousness beyond brain. Now this female, she's 40 years old female from Atlanta. She's a singer. And she got an aneurysm in brain. You know an aneurysm? Aneurysm means blood vessel, there's a balloon, blood vessel dilates. So that aneurysm was beneath, like you have brain and it is here, below the brain. So surgeons, so you cannot reach this aneurysm unless you block all blood. If you cut, you know, everything will become bloody, you know, and you get hemorrhage. So this female, she was anesthetized. Her heart, it was stopped. ECG flatline. Brain waves flatline. Heart, it was put on ventilator machine. No blood to brain. No electrical activity. She's dead for all practical purposes. She's dead. So this is a controlled study. You can understand. And in that operation, she experienced near-death experience. So it's a controlled case. And scientists are saying, now, how can she experience that? She went up on the ceiling and she explained what kind of instruments doctors used to cut her brain. And they asked all kind of questions. So what we were speaking, and she explained which foot they cut to get the vessels and so many other things. Everything, all procedure. By the way, she's not a doctor, she's a singer. She can't know all these procedures. She can't know what are the steps of brain surgery. But she explained everything. So this, scientists are surprised how to explain this case, Pam Reynolds case. And this shows that there's something beyond body, something beyond brain. Everything cannot be explained by. We are not machines. We are conscious, living entities. All these evidences are there in front of us. If we want to interpret in open-minded way, it's obvious to conclude that we are not just this machine. We are consciousness. We are soul. We call it soul or mind beyond body. And that's the purpose of life, to understand who we are. That is the meaning of life, to understand we are soul, we are not this body. That's what is spirituality all about. That's all. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions you can ask me? Yeah.
I'd like to mention that near-death experiences were, let's say, recorded by one German doctor recently who put a flat board above his patients while he was operating. They had to agree, but he would put a flat board for the computer screen.
Oh.
It would cycle images, just simple shapes like a purple triangle or two white squares, that type of thing. And he recorded how many of his patients
They saw that.
could tell him what images were there, what the cycle was, the patterns, and it was statistically significant. Many of them had.
Yeah, there are many things like that. And in fact, some scientists, they argue, see, near-death experience, they are hallucinations. You can always say like that, no? You know hallucinations? Mm-hmm. Drugs so they say brain is hallucinating. But that's not the case, because in many near-death experiences, they're explaining all procedures. I mean to say, nobody on drugs, he can explain brain surgery. I have not seen anybody. You can't explain brain surgery if you take drugs, if you take dope, You can't explain brain surgery. It's impossible. And many of these patients of near-death experience, they get a life review. Their entire life is flashed in front of them in maybe 5-10 seconds. That's all. Everything they can see from childhood to adult, whatever you have done, whoever you have harmed, whoever you have benefited, and not only you can see, but you can feel the emotions what he is feeling. It's a very intense experience, but it doesn't happen with drug addicts. You don't get a life review. So all these things, scientists are. But you know what? You have to be open-minded to get all these, to understand, to accept all these evidences, and then interpret it in a proper way. Otherwise, you can simply dismiss them also. Fine. Where's the person who asked question? He's no longer there.
He went to the transfer.
Yeah, fine. Okay, any other question? I'll stop here now. So, yeah.
Well, the kid with no brain, didn't that change how they would think on how vision is taken in through our eyes?
That's true. I mean to say, see, that's what I was telling. If you don't want to interpret evidence in a proper way, you can always argue.
Yeah.
You can always argue, I mean to say, if you're sitting in America, and if I tell you, I don't believe this is Michigan. Now you can show me the billboards. See, it's Michigan written. And I can argue, maybe you have a plot, You have put everywhere Michigan to deceive me. It's a conspiracy theory. And then you can bring papers from government, See, this is government paper. This is Michigan. Then I can say, well, maybe you're also with government. They're trying to deceive me. You can keep on arguing if you don't want to look at the other picture. So, scientific community, they don't want to accept. Even after so much evidences, they don't want to accept. But if you accept, explanation is simple, and many things get solved. Many phenomena can be explained by accepting that there is a consciousness beyond brain and we are not machines. I want to accept.
So what then would be the purpose or the function of the brain?
Brain?
If all these things that we think are directly attributed to the brain.
No, brain is like a wire and soul is like a generator. So if you cut the wire, still you don't get electricity, you don't get bulb lighting, But by cutting wire, electricity is still there. So brain is like a instrument to communicate energy and thoughts from soul. That's all. That's it.
Maybe what we're seeing over here is that there's a person that maybe have a really small mass of brain.
This person without brain? Yeah.
Yeah,
no brain. It's funny to speak no brain.
Something there, isn't it?
We want to be?
Some small brain, but...
No, he had a very thin layer of... I showed you, just a thin layer on the surface. That's all. Nothing more than that.
That might be enough.
Okay, did he have
The people are saying that might be enough, but you have to have a good explanation for that.
Yeah, because we the study, it just kind of shows that we don't really know, because we have all these things where people get brain injured and then they totally forget, they can't be a lawyer anymore because they forgot everything, or some just
So all this, so that's the point I mean to say. When you have brain injury, your instrument, your conduit is, electric wire is injured, so you don't get proper electricity, so people can't work. But this doesn't mean that your brain, there's something beyond brain.
Right.
So
like memory is somehow stored
yeah.
in the brain.
And you know one thing, by the way, it can happen ulta, it can happen something opposite also. Many people have brain injuries and they suddenly become savant. You know savants?
Oh yeah, it is.
Suddenly become genius. They get brain injury, seizures, and nobody can explain that. How do you do that? You know, they get brain injury. You have not heard? You go to Google and search for savants. Most of the savants are autistic. Autistic, right. You understand? They can't speak.
Oh, you mean like they're still conscious, but they're like savant, like they become savant, but they're still not like autistic?
Yeah.
Go get some brain injury.
No, autistic means that they can't work socially, they can't hear, right. They can't do, but they're genius. So nobody can understand what's happening.
Like, you're saying that like those people don't become autistic, but also become savants?
Which people?
Geniuses without becoming savants, or do they just like?
No. You get an injury and you become savant.
Oh.
You were telling you get.
So they become autistic.
Yeah.
They show autistic signs. Then.
Yes, so many. So that can also happen. How do you explain that? So many things are there. If you collect all evidences, it's easy to conclude that we are not machines. It's easy. It's simple as that. And there's a direct evidence. If you meditate, there's a direct evidence. What's happening? Okay, so that's pretty much. Thank you very much for hearing patiently. And we can have some feast downstairs now. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.